Well, now I want to get into something that's really important for me and the viewers, and that's the connection to graffiti. Because I guess so, like the Lizards and the Wizard, they really got out there through Heavy Metal magazine, right? Which is like the science fiction magazine.
National Lampoon, I think.
National Lampoon, okay.
Yeah, National Lampoon was like 1 million print runs.
Okay.
And my dad was quickly becoming their biggest cartoonist. But, you know, that's that and Cavalier magazine, the wank magazines my dad worked for. You know, as Cavalier Dude and Swank and Screw, all those were like porno magazines. And my father did 4 pages a month for Cavalier, and that was amazing because they paid a page rate of $400 a page times 4 plus Cheech Wizard once a month. My dad was doing good money back then. Now there's no magazines to work for. Right. No one pays a page rate.
Right.
Heavy Metal pays $80 a page now. Oof. My dad would quit.
Right.
Over that kind of pay.
Yeah.
$80 a page for color.
That's crazy.
I did it during COVID just because I got, you know, self-employment compensation, and I just said, okay, I'm going to be a cartoonist and just have the government pay me to do comics.
Yeah.
So for two years, I did comics for $80 a page.
But so those magazines is where some of the early writers were seeing some of these cartoons, right?
So Ree and Chino Malo were the earliest recognized doing the Bodē character on a train. It was the first one that got photographed and documented. And that was 75, late 75, just after my dad passed. So my dad never got to see that.
Wow, yeah.
And never met Dondi or any of the guys.
Yeah.
Like I did. I met them all. But and I got into, you know, I was a comic book artist straight up when I was in school of visual arts, and I wish I had met some of them, you know, like Dondi, like just meeting Dondi at that point, I would have been in there with Basquiat and Warhol and all, and Futura and the whole group. I would have totally been shoot in, but I was strictly comics at that time, just trying to follow in my dad's footsteps.
Oh, but you did get to meet.
But I did in
Dondi
85. I started getting, you know, I started noticing there was more than one person doing Lizards and Cheeches on the trains, and then, you know, the first time I saw Bodē characters on a train was on a nonstop on West 23rd. And yeah, it was West 23rd station, and I saw a train go by, and it had Deadbone and Bodē Broads and the Machines and Cheech Wizard, and it all went by like that, and I was like, holy fuck, who the hell is doing this, is risking their freedom to paint my father's characters on the fucking trains. I thought it was one insane motherfucker, and I just left it at that. It turned out it was Mayer and Cal, probably, that team, the brothers. I've explained it to him, and he said, I don't have any photos of that, Mark. I would love if we did, but a lot of times we just did it for the love of it, you know, and just to get up.
Yeah.
And so I never seen that train, but when I went back to San Francisco in 82, 83, I saw it above the Stud. You know, there was the Stud
down there
Club.
Folsom, yeah.
And there was a Bodē from Zooks. There was one of the Jets, and probably it could have been King, or it could have been one of those guys, or Fade, or there were some of the early writers, Shadow, and Thorn. There was a whole plethora of early writers that that were doing Bodē characters, and that could have been any one of them. But I realized it was more than one at that point. So they're everywhere.
Wow.
And then it started, and then I embraced it myself. You know, I met Dondi. Dondi sought me out.
And you said before that Dondi was like probably helped really blow up the characters because he did that full car. I think it's the Children of the Grave.
Yep.
With the
we all had a lot. The last time I saw him, I didn't. When we first met, it was at my mother-in-law's bodega in Brooklyn, State and Third, and he knew that my mother-in-law had a bodega, so he kept going. When's Mark coming? When's Mark coming? He's coming for Christmas. Okay, I'll be back. You know, and finally we met, and he never said anything about graffiti. I was still a comic book guy, and he just was like, wanted to know stories. He wanted to know what it was like to be with my dad, and if he had said, you know, come spray paint with me in the yard, I would have said, oh hell yeah. You know, I was like just like in my early 20s. I was perfect for it, but he didn't. He was very humble, and he just wanted to touch base. We drew for each other, and that was it.
Wow.
And but years later, you know, last time I saw him was in the 90s, and I looked a lot different. I didn't have the long hair my father had, and I had white bleached hair, and I came up to him at the bar, Max Fish, and I said, my family owes you a lot, man. Like you are the pinnacle of, like, you started a whole new following for us, and I want to. He's like, yeah, whatever, man. And all of a sudden somebody came up to the bar, Bodē, you want a drink? And he was, oh, Bodē, Mark, Bodē. he was like, he didn't know who I was. He was like, oh, whatever, dude. Get off my shoulder. But the last time he didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was when we met. Mm-hmm. And the last time we were together was we experienced that. But yeah, eventually I got together with Revolt and Zephyr and Scene and all those guys, and Stan 153, who had turned out to be one of my closest friends. And he passed away not too long ago. But
crazy, man. Yeah, because you end up basically, like, these graffiti legends start embracing yours and your father's artwork, and then you started embracing graffiti too, because you eventually picked up the spray paint as well.
Yeah, well, I did the same thing in tattooing. Like, so many people were tattooing Bodē characters, and it always kind of irked me, like, well, I should be making money like that too. You know, like, why am I not making money doing that? You know, like, I'm the guy. You know, I'm the well. You know, and so each time, you know, like, I'd get my ass kicked by these guys who could just spray. You know, like, do Bodē characters like no problem, and I was like still struggling with can pressure, and I ended up in spray can art just out of luck, you know, because that piece I did was the first piece I ever spray painted. That there was 2 doors, and it was like a bust of a woman, and if you look up above, my name is all janky. It's because I had no spray control. Right. I had none. Right. I was just like, other people were like, hey, can you fix my shit, man? and it's but Jim Prigoff came and said, I want to picture you in front of that, and it was just because of my background that photo was taken. But I still have the doors. Wow. My friend saved them, and he had them in the warehouse, and the piano warehouse over in Pine Street in Oakland, and he saved Steve Heck. He saved the doors, so and I still have them. You know, they're the only thing existing from spray can art.
Wow.
The only thing. You know.
Well, you done like a lot of like murals and stuff. Did you ever get into bombing?
I did, you know, but it never went much further than tagging in bathrooms and on you know, once in a while.
You were hitting like Bodē tags
in New York City. Yeah, and then people go, whatever. Yeah, right. Arrows. Yeah, but you know, I mean, I tagged a few freighters. You know, like just small, like burner type. You know, because I at that point I was older. You know, I was like in my 30s. So
yeah.
If I had to run from the police, I'd probably, you know, if they handcuffed me, I'd start crying. You know, it was just too late for me.
Right. Here's another reminder that Mark Bodē will be in the building for History of the Bay Day, October 19th at the Midway in San Francisco. We got Souls of Mischief, Mob Figures, Kamaya, Du Bois, Drew Down, Be Legit, myself, and many others performing. But also make sure you come through to catch the Graffiti Gallery, where you'll be able to purchase custom art commissions from Mark Bodē and the legendary King 157. The gallery is curated by our friends and longtime sponsors at Dying Breed, and they're going to be bringing some art by some of the Bay's best writers. They'll also have graffiti supplies available to purchase at the event. Tickets are moving fast, so make sure you don't miss out on History of the Bay Day and get your tickets now at the link in the description.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.